Welcome to episode 121 of Outside the Circle, a podcast dedicated to new and upcoming country artists, musicians, and songwriters. Today's guest will be Tyra Madison. We'll get to her in a little bit, but first, I'm Ronnie, and here's Brian.
What's happening, man? Yeah, we are back. This is the first one back from my my sickness, the episode.
Yeah, first one with the both of us on it in a while.
Yeah, so that's exciting alone. No, man, it's been pretty solid here. Jamie had her baby shower. Super funny story about this. She had her baby shower. I dropped her off with Wyatt and then came home. You know, they were doing their thing. And then her dad had came over and I had put Wyatt up for a nap. And I had to go pick Jamie up. So I told, her dad, basically I was like, all you gotta do is just be in the house. Just so there's somebody in the house while Wyatt's sleeping. So I shoot out, get all the stuff, load up the truck, come back. I come back and I'm unloading and I hear just like banging. So I look up and his room is on the second floor window, right? And he had snuck around the curtain and was facing out the window so he could see us and then climbed up on the windowsill. He was just standing there staring at us. Now everybody's gonna be like, "That's super dangerous." Listen, it's not that dangerous. He's okay,
right?
And he was just sitting there staring. But of course, like when I put him down, he was fighting me to like go back into his clothes. So he's just there in like a t-shirt and a diaper. It's the funniest picture. I have the funniest picture of it. It was amazing.
Yeah. Well, I guess he was in his room. So Jamie's dad was still there. He just wouldn't have noticed because it was upstairs.
Yeah. He was upstairs in his room. And, we have the camera in there, but like, if you're not like watching it, like 100% of the time, you wouldn't notice him just like jump out of bed real quick. Especially, someone that doesn't watch, like that's an empty bed. Like if you wouldn't know that. Yeah, so like we walked in, we're like, he's in the window. And he's like, I didn't even hear him move.
Yeah. Well, the way you started that story, I was expecting that he like left, went to 7-Eleven, got some scratch offs, and then came back and Wyatt was just like sitting on the couch or something.
Right.
So at least he was still in the house. That's a good start.
Yeah, we were good that way.
Yeah, I saw the your what do you call those? I guess your honeycombs, your catacombs. Those came out pretty nice. They a good job on those.
Thanks, man. Yeah, that's a little woodworking still in my blood here. So yeah, Jamie had a whole bee themed or honey themed party, and she wanted some sort of a shelf to put all the favors and stuff on, and obviously where we all get inspiration anymore is Pinterest. And she sent me a Pinterest image and she's like, "Can you make this?" I'm like, "Sure, I'll give it a try." And it came out great. Great hexagon. There's 6 hexagons that kind of made it look like a honeycomb. It was cool.
Yeah. And I have Pinterest. I haven't heard that in so long. I feel like we kind of moved. I feel like now everything's TikTok based, but I guess Pinterest still. I guess for that type of stuff, Pinterest is still pretty relevant.
I mean, I would think so. I'm not on it. I don't know. I just get sent stuff from my wife.
You and I talking about Pinterest is comical in itself. Let alone, I don't even know if I know how to spell Pinterest. So, but yeah, we're hitting the start of February here. It's February 2nd-ish, something like that. Crazy. The year so far has moved pretty quickly. And I believe we did this interview the beginning of January. So it was right when everybody started getting healthy again, and first one of the new year. So that was a lot of fun. Tyra's got some great songs and great stories and things like that. So let's jump into it. And All right, everyone. We're here today with singer-songwriter Tyra Madison. Welcome to Outside the Circle, Tyra. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. We I know we kind of went back and forth for a while. I think at one point you were sick, I was sick, Brian was sick. It was just a whole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going around lately. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
But we're both healthy now, so.
Yes, that's the important part. But yeah, so this is our first official interview. We're doing an interview in 2024, so this is fun. Yeah. So we always like to start with like the cliche, getting to know you kind of stuff. So tell us a little bit about where you grew up and how important music was in your household, things like that.
Yeah, so I'm from a really small town called Pine Top, Kentucky. It's in southeastern Kentucky. One stoplight town, and I grew up on bluegrass music. Actually, my papa played the harmonica and my uncle played the guitar. So I grew up in a pretty musical family, and they would always play and I would always sing with them. And I would go every Tuesday night to this thing called Pickin' and Grinnin' with my papa, where all these bluegrass musicians would just get together. And I was around 4 then, and I just kind of grew up on a stage.
I love bluegrass. It's one of my for sure guilty pleasures. When I was younger, I'm pretty sure I've told this a handful of times on here, but I was part of the Country Music Association, like Northeast. I'm originally from Northern New York, and every time we'd go to like their meetings, they would always be playing in a round, and it was always bluegrass. And that was like the first time that I really latched onto it. I was like, this is amazing. And like to see some of like the best guitar players and like instrumentalists that I've ever seen in my life all together. I'm very envious of it. I don't have the chops for bluegrass, but it is one of my most favorite music to listen to for sure.
No, yeah, the musicians are so talented in that genre.
Yeah.
My papa was one of them.
Nice. So you said Southeast Kentucky. So I actually, in total, I probably spent about a year and a half of my life in Hebron, Kentucky. Is that right? Like up by Cincinnati, like north?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Like kind of by somewhere in the Cincinnati area, but on the Kentucky side. But I loved it out there. I would move there in a heartbeat if it wasn't if I had a job that brought me there.
Yeah, Kentucky, it's beautiful. My parents actually live in Lexington now, and Lexington's a cool town. I'm a big Kentucky Wildcats fan, so.
Yeah. One of our first guests, is Dallas, Kentucky or Kansas?
Kansas.
Kansas. But is it Kentucky Wildcats though, no? Why does that sound familiar? We had a guy on way back in the day that he's really you know what it is? He spends a lot of time in Kentucky. Maybe that's what I'm thinking. He plays a lot in the area. But
who is it?
Dallas Pryor. The Lazy Wayne Band is what he goes by. But yeah, no, it's a great area. Love it. And like you said, the music, the bluegrass, it's definitely some of my favorite times being out there. So obviously you were around music since birth. Was there like a specific moment that you kind of latched on and went, okay, this is it. This is what I'm going to do. I know you mentioned like being 4 and all that, but was there like an aha moment that made this the career?
Yeah, there definitely was. It was when I was in kindergarten. I did the school talent show and I sang You Are My Sunshine a cappella. And that was the first time I ever sang on a stage. And ever since that day, they were like, that little girl has a big voice. And then when I was in high school, around 17, I started songwriting, traveling back and forth from Kentucky to Nashville to write. And so then I applied to Belmont University, and that was the only college that I applied to because I knew that I wanted to be in Nashville, and I was a voice major there, and I graduated in 2019 and still here. And I love Nashville and I love country music.
I love that. You know what I took from that? There's no backup plan. That is the plan.
No, I always tell people there's no plan B.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And I think that's having a dream in general, is not having that sense of mind of having a plan B.
Yeah, that safety net can be like a handicap, right? You know, a lot of folks they'll be like, I'm going to do this, but if this doesn't work out, and that's already putting doubt in your mind, right, that it's not going to work.
Yep.
And you know, I love that. I love that mindset of just, nope, there is no other plan. This is the path we're taking. There is no side roads.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I do want to talk about Belmont later, but you mentioned graduating in 2019, so that was right before like all the pandemic stuff, and so I'm sure that it was probably good timing in the sense that you were able to get through everything, and then the world shuts down after that. But yeah.
It was really nice because I got to walk across stage, and people the next semester didn't really have that luxury. I mean, I don't think I would have minded the online classes that much, but yeah, I was pretty lucky to get to do that.
Yeah. So you mentioned part of the Belmont stuff being like songwriting and all of that. We always kind of like to dive into your individual styles and the things that you bring to the table as a songwriter. So I guess just to start, what does that process look like for you? What do you bring to the table as a songwriter?
I would definitely say my strength is melody and song idea, like the hook. Usually, I enjoy writing with different kinds of people, and I would say I either start with the idea, definitely start with the idea for sure, and then either the chords or some kind of melody comes after that, and then the lyrics.
So was that something, we know Nashville is a co-writing town. Early on in your co-writing or in your writing career, it must have been mostly, solo writing. And then when you're 17 going back and forth, I'm guessing those were kind of co-writes. I don't know if there's a question in there, but you
No, I get what you're saying. I mean, I feel like every songwriter artist starts writing by themselves, and I'm younger, and I'm not saying the songs I wrote were Grammy worthy, but back then, but that's the thing about songwriting is you grow, and the more that you do it and really hone in on that craft, the better songs you'll get. So I really enjoy songwriting. I enjoy expressing myself because normally I'm not a super expressive person, but I can express myself through music and writing, and that's what I enjoy.
Have you taken any of those solo writes into your co-writes to kind of do a rewrite or edit on them or something?
No, not yet.
Okay.
No, not really. I really enjoy writing with other people.
Yeah.
If I'm writing by myself, I tend to second guess myself, and I'm like, that's crap. So I prefer to have a second ear in the room with me.
Yeah.
So I have two parts to this. So the first is, I always like to ask, do you remember the topic of that first song that you wrote?
I mean, I'm not going to count the little frilly ones I wrote when I was like 15. I'm going to count. The first song I really wrote was technically just a story about my life. It's called Papaw. And I actually, I wrote that with two really talented songwriters. One of them being from my hometown. Her name is Brittany Taylor. And it's called Papaw. It's about the important people, my life, my family. And then I actually have re-recorded it, and I plan on releasing it eventually.
Oh, cool.
Nice. Cool. And then my second part of that is, kind of going back to how you were saying you started writing, late teen years and then going to Belmont and now being in town and having, I'm assuming, consistent ish co-writes and, staying busy. I guess you kind of answered it based on Brian's question of if you go back to anything, but I'm sure, especially having schooling like Belmont, which is known for that stuff, right? That I always find it interesting that, and this might not actually be a question, but I always find it interesting that things we do when we're younger in our crafts, we might not totally understand what we're doing, but then there's those aha moments later where it's like, oh, I remember I did that. I didn't know what I was doing, but oh, I could do that now. Like, yeah. No, I think that's
well, it's a understanding the why, right? So when I was learning, I was interning at a recording studio, and I was just basically an intern, right? Go do this, go do that. And I would just do it. And then when I actually got schooling, I understood the why of why I was doing all of this stuff and everything, and it all kind of clicked together. So yeah, I mean, I can follow. I'm tracking what you're saying. It's understanding the why now after years of just like, we'll say winging it, because we really don't know. Nobody knows how to songwrite until you actually start doing it and figuring it out.
Yeah, I mean, you got to start somewhere. So you might be the suckiest song ever, but I think just writing a bunch of songs, you're going to get a good one out of there somewhere.
Yeah. And like you say, you got to start somewhere, right? And the first one's not going to win the Grammy, but the 100th one hopefully will. You mentioned before that you're not very expressive, and you use that in your music and songwriting and all that. I find that very interesting, considering I think it's safe to say that you have quite a big voice, I guess is the correct terminology there. Yeah, I think there's, and I'm leading into, we should put on the song we're going to play for you. But I think when we do that, people are going to hear this, and if they haven't already, that what we see in music right now, I think it's safe to say that you're kind of doing it bigger, I guess, if that's the right word I'm looking for. Yeah, I think you definitely stand out from the crowd a lot, and people are hear that in a second. But so I found that very interesting that you said you're not very expressive, and when I feel like you could pick you out.
Sorry, maybe I used the wrong words. I mean, like, it's difficult for me to show my emotions. I'm a pretty open book, but I'm pretty closed off on my emotions, and the way that I express myself is through songwriting. So
yeah. All right, so let's do that then. So let's play the song that we're gonna put on for you. So why don't you introduce it for us? Then we'll talk about it when we come back.
This is Tyra Madison, and you're listening to my new single, "Devil's in the Details."
Said she was this little firecracker, red hair, freckle face, wild whippersnapper. Said there's only one of you, ain't nothing like the other two. Sneaky smile on her face, rolling candy in her pocket. Mama always said she didn't know where she got it, her little wicked side, but Mama didn't seem to mind. Then one Sunday, sitting in a pew, Sister said, "Preacher man looks like you, he kinda looks like you." Hidden in the shadows, buried in the ground, dirty little secrets, white steeple town, where everybody knows but nobody ever tells. Bones in the closet, writing on to hide. Every Sunday sitting in the pew, she stares right into the truth. Hidden in the shadows, buried in the ground, dirty little secrets, wires people down, where everybody knows but nobody ever tells. Bones in the closet, writing on the wall, lives get big in a place so small. It's a goes around, pretty pony carousel, but the devil's in the details. But the secret's safe. Hidden in the shadows, buried in the ground, dirty little secrets, wires people down, where everybody knows but nobody ever tells. Bones in the closet, writing on the wall, lives get big in a place so small. It's a goes around, pretty pony carousel. The devil's in the details. The devil's in the details.
All right, so let's talk about Devils in the Details. First and foremost, what was the inspiration behind that song and getting it out as your newest single?
Yeah, so I actually didn't write Devils in the Details. This is an outside cut. It's written by hit songwriters Brett James, Laura Veltz, and Will Bundy. And when I first heard this song, I was like, I really want to cut it. It's got a really cool story behind it. And those are my favorite kind of songs where you have to listen to it twice to understand really what it's saying. And that is a song I probably had to listen to like 3 times to understand what was going on. But I really enjoy, story songs. My song Plead the Fifth, also, I did write that one. I just think it's really cool because I, grew up doing theater, so I do acting, and it's just really cool to put yourself in a character's shoes that may not be your own. And that's the really cool thing about songwriting, is that you can do that. You can use your imagination and write anything.
Yeah, this song is awesome. I'm going to talk about the production side of it. The breakdown feel that happens throughout it in those times where it's just you and the drum and it's just pushing the beat the whole time. It is one of the coolest and easiest songs to just feel and totally rock out to without, on the first listen, which is, kind of seldom, especially for, country music is a listening kind of music. You really want to listen to it. This one, I felt myself just right into it immediately. And, I am always a sucker for a guitar solo. So.
Oh yeah, me too. Yeah, I love the intensity and energy of this song, and I think when the chorus hits, it's so big, and it's just, I don't know. My producer Jason Haig and John Suki just killed it. So.
Yeah, and while Brian always talks about the production side, I always talk about the lyric and emotion side of it, I guess. And like you, if it's telling a story, if it's bringing me down some sort of path, I'm always going to gravitate to it. And this song did exactly that. And I know before we went into it, I mentioned having a big voice, and there's not really everything I love about the badass independent mind frame and what's missing from a lot of music these days. You 100% captured in this, and it doesn't take one listen. It deserves 100 listens to get the full picture. And I love this song. Great choice.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Devil's in the Details. So that was released, I believe, early November of 2023. Yeah, it's 2024 now. Early November of 2023. How has the response been so far with it out in the world?
It's been great. I got good feedback on it. I got, good playlisting, and the streams keep going up. So I can't complain.
That's the goal, right?
Yeah.
That I don't think we've ever actually talked about that part of it. So you mentioned that you're getting the playlists and things like that, and I know me personally, I'm kind of oblivious to the playlist world. Like, is that something that like you and your team are pitching, or is it more like the creators of those playlists coming to you? Like how did those?
No, I think it's more my team pitching, or if you're releasing a lot, your name's gonna be familiar with these. With Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, whatever it may be. Just releasing the more songs, I feel like better chance of just getting on more and more playlists.
Yeah, and to Ronnie's point, the sound that you have fits that algorithm of being a popular rock country singer, and so it allows itself to be picked up by those playlists like you may also like, and then it will kind of populate itself. So no, that's awesome.
Yeah, I feel like the internet, specifically streaming and all these different sites, I feel like they've while we hear not the greatest things about them, whether it's their payout methods or whatever, I feel like, and I mean, this might just be a very obvious statement and you're both going to go, wow, you're really dumb for thinking this, but I feel like the playlist world is how people are getting all their music now. You might not necessarily be going to Spotify and typing in an individual artist name. You might start that way and then you go down the rabbit hole. And so yeah, like Brian said, like being recognizable, setting yourself apart from the pack is gonna, at least I think that's what's gonna help continue to push you forward. So yeah. It's an interesting world, the online streaming.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There is.
Yeah. So let's kind of go back to Belmont a little bit. So, I kind of want to talk about, we talked about like the songwriting side and, kind of going through that process and into graduation and into now. I'm always curious about the experience and mostly if there's anything that you've continued to, or anything that you've taken away that you like continue to like put in your everyday practice, as you move forward. A lot of times we get degrees and it becomes useless in a couple of years. So do you, being so music specific of a school and degree, are there things that you find that like without Belmont you wouldn't have known and continue to like push yourself forward with?
Yeah, I would say Belmont taught me a lot. I would say one thing I got from Belmont was, connections. I feel like even in my graduating class, I graduated with so many people that are in the industry right now, and it's just really cool to be like, yeah, I know them, they're at this label or they're doing something in the business, and you run into them every now and then, and it's really cool. I learned a lot of music theory in college, and I had to take voice lessons, and I think that was something that definitely helped me. I even took a songwriting class. I would say a lot of things that I had at Belmont I brought with me in the future.
Yeah, especially, you mentioned the connections. That's a, not everybody goes to Belmont for the same things. There's so many different areas of of music that I'm sure that's definitely one of the benefit, if not the biggest benefit of you might be sitting next to the guy who's studying guitar or the person who's trying to open a recording studio or so yeah, I think the connection side is probably the most important thing period in the industry, but to definitely come out of school with.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I noticed through your websites and social media and all that you like to keep yourself busy. You're playing a bunch of shows, and you know, you've shared the stage with, you know, artists like Ernest and Lone Star and one of our personal favorites, Larry Fleet. So, you know, kind of tell us a little bit about what people can expect from a show of yours if they're showing up for the first time.
Yeah, I would definitely say my shows have a lot of energy. You know, I play the ballads, but I also enjoy really playing the up tempo and just, you know, entertaining the crowd. I probably have a few covers in there, just, you know, the songs that everybody knows. But I mean, I would say it's pretty loud and it's pretty high energy and just fun. It's fun being up there. I enjoy it, and I couldn't imagine myself doing anything else.
So touring with those, the group that, you know, Ronnie had just talked about, any takeaways from them? Like, was it any learning experiences from them and what they do on stage and that you're able to take away from?
I think that all of them have something special about them. I mean, one that was really cool for me was Nelly, because I grew up on 2000s hip hop because my brother is 7 years older than me. So he would drive me to school and he would be playing, you know, Hot in Here on the way to school. So that was a really cool show for me. Like you said, Larry Fleet, he's just, voice is amazing for one. Two, he's an amazing songwriter. It's unbelievable the songs that he's written that people don't even know. Yeah, I think that all of them have something really special about them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think my favorite thing about Larry Fleet in particular is how commanding of a room he is. It doesn't matter if it's a 1,000-seat theater or a little bar or whatever. He's got everybody's attention, and he can do that. He doesn't need the full bands, that rocking side. He could do with just him, his voice, and a guitar. And I think that's definitely something that you can't really teach or learn. And, you know, he definitely has it. I also became a little heartbroken when you said your brother listened to Nelly, and I was ready to talk about Country Grammar, and then you hit me with the 10 years later of Hot in Here, and that's a little. My era of Nelly was early.
No, I like Country Grammar too. I like it. I just like him in general, but yeah. Country Grammar, I dig that one too.
I was going with Country Grammar too.
Hey, that's a good one. That's a good choice.
That is a good one.
I think that album came out. I want to say we graduated different years, right, Brian? I was so. I think that came out like our freshman, maybe our 8th grade freshman year time frame. So that was a big part of the culture around here for a while.
Hey, I love it.
Yeah. And I think it's great that now we're seeing such a crossover of genres. And, you know, there was obviously a lot of backlash in the beginning about, you know, who belongs where. And I think that's such I was going to say a crass way, but I don't think that's the right word. It's such a unfortunate way of thinking. Yeah. Like, we need to get rid of the labels, and it's awesome that we could have artists like Nelly and Larry Fleet and you all in the same. But
yeah, I think that's a cool thing about country is that it's a big horizon, and what even is country anymore? And my biggest pet peeve is when people are like, "That's not real country," like, you know, those trolls online.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah.
no comment.
I hate to say it, but those trolls online are not the ones buying the albums, and you know, I think it's safe to say you're doing just fine without them, and anybody else is doing just fine without them. Yeah, it's I feel like this genre has been it's expanded so much that there is so much, I don't want to say hate, but there's so much like backlash to certain corners of it. And I don't know, it's stupid. It's all music. It's all great. We should all just enjoy it.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
And I think that country music is getting back to that, you know, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been going on forever, right? That like, that's not country. That's not country. I mean, when 90s country came out, the 70s, 60s, that era, looked at 90s country like, what is this abomination? You know what I mean? And now, if you were to play 90s country now, everybody'd be like, oh, it's so traditional, you know, that type of thing. So it's been going on forever. And I don't see it ending anytime soon. You know, there's always going to be naysayers. And I won't say, you know, there are times, and I've looked at country music too and been like, you know, that's a damn good song, but I don't think that's a country song in any way. I'm a traditionalist at heart, and I definitely see like there's times that like, you know, that's a cool song, that's a cool pop song or whatever. But like then you start getting into like weird labeling of music, and that just sucks, you know, because then you're pigeonholing things, and it doesn't need to be. I listen to basically everything, mainly country. But I'll listen to a good rock song or whatever. And if I'm working out, the stuff that I work out to is definitely not, you know, traditional country by any means.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's everybody just needs to chill out. You don't need to like what I like, and I don't need to like what you like. And we can both be happy.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah. I think it's safe to say we hit a hot button for Brian here. That might be the most you've talked in the last time.
I am very passionate about that. I am very passionate about that. I hate when people are like, get to be so like, that's not country music. This is what country music should be like. And you're like, shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, keeping with that topic then, so 2024 just started here. You had a pretty good 2023, put out a couple of singles throughout the year. How is 2024 looking like for you? Do you have anything coming on down the line that you want to touch on?
Yeah, I'm releasing a song in February. I haven't really announced it yet, but I'm just going to keep songs rolling after that and just keep releasing and playing more rounds, playing out of town, more live shows, and keep writing.
Well, I, for one, can't wait to get the next batch of songs coming, because if 2023 was any indication of what you're putting out in the world, I think it's safe to say that it'll just keep getting better from here. So I guess to kind of close up a little bit, so where can our listeners go to find you online, all the socials, all that stuff?
Yeah, TyraMadison.com is my website. My Instagram is at Tyra Madison. My TikTok is Tyra Madison Music. Facebook, Tyra Madison Music. YouTube, all that. Follow me on Spotify. Just look up Tyra Madison, you'll find me.
Awesome, Tyra. It's been an absolute pleasure having you with us tonight, and I definitely look forward to hearing more of this music and following along on your journey.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all for having me.
All right, so that was our interview with Tyra Madison. It was a great chat, great interview. I think we talked about it a couple times in there. Definitely a big voice, badass, independent woman type vibe, and a lot of good things coming from her. Yeah,
definitely, man. I kind of cling on to that bluegrass background that she has, and I really dug that. And the song's cool. Then the one that we're gonna play here at the end is super cool too. Yeah, and it's I mentioned in the intro that we're in early February here, and she talked at the end of the
the interview that her next single should be out hopefully sometime this month, if not early March. So definitely keep an eye out for that. And yeah, I mean, you know, like we always say, it's cool to see what these artists keep doing, and you know, Tyra's no different. Looking forward to 2024 for her.
Yeah, I agree. Looking forward to it. But we definitely want to thank Tyra for coming on Outside the Circle. Be sure to follow her on all of her social media, music listening platforms. We'll leave you today with a track from Tyra Madison, Rebound.
I saw you standing there, buzzing at the bar in a vintage Lakers t-shirt, putting on the charm, telling her you want forever when you only want tonight. It's a lie, a lie, a lie. You had your arm around her shoulder, thinking you were gonna score. Then she said the drink you bought her, and she walked right out the door. You think I didn't see you talking to a blonde like me? You came here looking for some fun, a little one-on-one. I'm not your IEBOUND. You're not gonna mess with me. Yeah, you missed your shot, and I'm not your rebound. You think you're luckier than a field of four-leaf clovers. You think you can call me, I'll drop everything, come over. You think you're hotter than the Cabo summer sun, but you're wrong.